You know, I've mentioned over and over again about how much I appreciate the Transformers community, whether it be YouTube or Facebook. I love this community. Granted, we have the occasional troll every now and then, but 90% of our community is full of great people. And let me give you an example. Last week, I reviewed Siege Soundwave. And during the review, I mentioned that I found the figure, but I couldn't find Ravage and Laserbeak. And when I canceled my pre-order for this figure, I lost my pre-order of Ravage and Laserbeak too. So I thought I was screwed. But a viewer of my videos, who's also a Facebook friend of mine, got in contact with me and said that he knew a guy that had a Ravage and Laserbeak. So he got me in touch with this guy got in touch with me, yada, 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 back and forth. As a result, I now have Ravage and Laserbeak and the Rescue Squad. So big shout out to Mike and a big shout out to Tim for selling these guys to me at cost. No scalper prices here. I got these at cost. Thank you very much. So for today's review, we're going to take a look at Ravage and Laserbeak and see how well they go with my Siege Soundwave. And welcome to Patriot Prime Reviews. The first thing we'll do is take a look at the package. You've got Laserbeak and Ravage in robot mode. Some fantastic looking art on the top. I love the packaging art for these new Transformers. It's great. It harkens back to the great artwork we had in the 80s. War for Cybertron Siege. On the back you have your product shots. Soundwave, Spy Patrol. There's their feature where they turn into armor. We'll take a look at that later. There's your words, Hasbro Authentic, and that is pretty much it for the packaging. Let's get these guys out of this plastic coffin and see if they were worth the wait. Once you get Ravage and Laserbeak out of the package, you see that they come with a nice sheet of instructions that, just like the rest of the Siege figures, are very well illustrated. So you'll have no problem whatsoever transforming these guys back and forth. Granted, they're fairly easy. You don't really need these instructions. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ravage first. I love the details on this guy. He looks just like Ravage. A lot of nice molded details on him. You can make out the fangs, the red eyes. They gave him his rocket pods on his hips. Unfortunately, they point upwards at an angle instead of straight, but not too bad considering what he is. Nice paint applications there on the top with the little purple spine. My biggest issues with the guy, look how wide he is. He looks like a badger or maybe a pit bull. Not really the sleek Ravage that we all know and love. Articulation, the legs can go forward and back. There's a little bit of bend there at the knee, I guess. Back legs pretty much can only go forward. They kind of stop right there. And this one bends at the knee as well. No tail. Ravage has no tail this time. He's like a bobcat. So now let's go ahead and go to transformation. Take the head. Actually, let me show off. He does have head articulation. He can look up. He can look down. Oh yeah, and you can give him the old yawning cat pose if you so choose. Or for you yoga freaks, downward dog. Anyway, back to transformation. Take the head, push it all the way down into the chest. Then you're going to take the back legs, take the gray foreleg, press it all the way against the thigh. You actually feel it click into place. Then you're going to rotate this around. If I can get it. Ravage is a little tricky. So there we go. Rotate that around. Bring this section up. Make sure the rocket pods are facing toward the head. So now he's going to look like this. Going to go ahead and bring this section up. He's starting to take form. Fold the forelegs, or the front legs up, there's these little tabs right here you'll see fit into place. There we are. They'll actually click, so you know you got them. And lastly, take the legs and tab those in. And there you have Ravage in rectangle mode. I'm not going to call him a cassette because he's on Cybertron right now. Doesn't even know what a cassette is. So there is Ravage. Now let's move on to Laserbeak, and I really like this figure. He looks awesome. Great paint applications, great molded details, and I love that new head sculpt. With the visor look, he looks just like he did in the very first episode of the Generation 1 cartoon. And that makes perfect sense since he is Cybertronian. Molded details do include thrusters on the back that fortunately can be used with the blast effects. So you can just peg those right on the end. There we go. To give him that flying look. Unfortunately, Ravage, you can't use the blast effects on him. I do wish he had some molded weapons here on top, but it is what it is, and I can see a third-party company coming along making something that will fit in those little holes. Articulation for this guy is his head can move up and down so he can have attack poses or just sit there and look like he's hanging out. The wings, of course, can go in, but that's mainly for transformation. And speaking of transformation, this guy is super simple. It's almost like his Generation 1 counterpart. Take the back section and fold back, flipping around. Put the head straight up and fold back, so it'll lay flush. The wings simply fold in and tab in place. You can hear them click. And then on the back, take the feet and fold back like so. And there you have Laserbeak in his rectangle mode. And that's all there is to say about that. Now, of course, the big question for this set is how well do they go with Siege Soundwave? But first, let me go over their Sonic Surge Armor mode. Both of the rectangles have little pegs that you can pop out. There's Laserbeaks. There is Ravages. Now, note how easy mine was to pop out. I see a lot of reviewers can't get this. I don't know if they've got really, really tight and bad Ravages, or I just have fingernails. Either way, you poke those little tabs out, and in turn, you can peg the rectangles onto Soundwave. Of course, they'll go into any port on the figure. I like to put them on his wrists, like so. So the way I look at it, if that's supposed to be some kind of Sonic Surge armor, he can kind of look like Wonder Woman and throw his arms up to block incoming missiles or laser fire. But hey, that's just me. Now let's check out the chest compartment compatibility. Of course, we know Soundwave has the spring-loaded chest compartment. We'll take Laserbeak, make sure the tab is folded back down, and simply place him inside Soundwave's chest. Shut the door, and there you go. Well, that's cool. That's never happened before. He ejected. I wonder what's the chances of doing that again. So there he goes. He's in Soundwave. Almost. It did flip around. Oops. Let's see. Let's get this in here right. I had the beak facing down. Put that in there. All right. Third time's the charm. I didn't do it. But anyway, as you see, Laserbeak fits in perfectly. Now we'll do Ravage. Once again, Ravage goes in a little tighter than Laserbeak. And if you notice, the door doesn't shut completely with Ravage. See the button here? It doesn't stick up all the way like it should, but it still locks in place and still pops out really good. And I actually like Ravage in Soundwave's chest better. I like the extra Decepticon logos, plus it kind of deteriorates from all that battle damage. So yeah, the rectangles work very well with Soundwave's chest gimmick. Another cool way to pose Laserbeak with Soundwave is take Laserbeak and we'll transform him back to bird mode, lift the head up, pop the wings out, and flip this back section up and around. And underneath, instead of folding the feet out, flip out his armor peg, like so. Take Soundwave's arm, hold it up, there's that hole right there, and you can position Laserbeak in the peg hole, so Soundwave now has his pet on his arm. So I dig that. I think that looks really good, and I do believe that's how I'm going to display my Soundwave and Laserbeak in my collection. Now for a vintage size comparison, here is Siege, Ravage, and Laserbeak with their Generation 1 counterparts. So Laserbeak is a great homage to the original. Ravage, he leaves a little bit to be desired. Siege, Ravage, and Laserbeak are a must-have if you have Siege Soundwave. Laserbeak is definitely the better of the two, but unfortunately you can't buy them separate. I'm probably just going to leave Ravage in cassette mode to kind of break up Soundwave's battle damage until a Toy Hack set comes along. So there you have it, Siege, Ravage, and Laserbeak. So, does a Siege, Ravage, and Laserbeak belong in your collection? Only if you have Siege Soundwave. If you don't, these guys are pretty much useless. Laserbeak looks good in bird mode, I'll give him that. Ravage, he's a missed opportunity. I mean, it's a shame that G1 transforms into a better looking feline than this badger looking thing. Their alt modes, they're rectangles. They're absolutely useless unless you have Soundwave, and their armor mode, laughable. So yeah, that's my thoughts. If you have Soundwave, pick them up. If not, if you're a Laserbeak fan, there you go. And guys, I want to thank you for stopping by and checking out my videos. If you like what you see, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notified when I upload new videos. I try to do 1 or 2 a week, just depends on my schedule. Also, check out my new series, The Sit Rep, where I interview other Transformer collector YouTubers, and we just sit and shoot the bull about the robots in disguise. Once again, guys, this is Patriot Prime, signing out. Hoo-ah! Hey, I really appreciate you guys stopping by my channel. Don't forget to like and don't forget to subscribe. Also, check out some of my other videos that I've done on Generation 1 Transformers, Modern Era Transformers, and Toy Hack's Retro Label sets. Once again, this is Patriot Prime. Hoo-ah!